like her aunt was my grandparents' caregiver.
Oh,
So
okay.
when she came to one of the funerals, when I saw her, Senator Cervantes, she's like, I know your whole family. I'm like, you do? She's like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. She's like, yeah. So she did tell me, she's like, my dad was your grandma's cousin, like one of those things from the same hometown, but not like a direct cousin.
Okay.
But yeah, she's taking his place now.
Clerk Garcia, can we convene the open committee of the whole? If we can take another roll call, please.
Good evening. Caldwell,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Leja, Faith, Pabon,
Here.
Palashak, Bruckman, Carmichael.
Here.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Okay, so the first thing we have on the agenda is the property tax levy determination. We have our comptroller and our finance director, Ben and Monica. Go on, guys.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. We are presenting about the property tax determination. The overview of our presentation is we'll review the tax filing requirements. We'll go over the status of the fund levies to consider, which includes police, debt service, police and fire debt service, and the general fund. After we provide the status, we are going to go over the options for City Council to consider in the tax levy determination. From that point, we'll leave the floor open for questions and comments. Real important, after the presentation, we need for alderpersons to provide a straw poll vote as to which of the options we should present in an ordinance for December 9th. With that being said, if you flip the pages over to our tax filing requirements, today, November 12th, per state statute, we have 20 days, at least 20 days, a determination needs to be made before an ordinance is considered for adoption. By having the meeting today, we are fulfilling that requirement. We are scheduling December 9th to be the day of final adoption of the tax levy. So in between that time, if there's a change that needs to be made in the determination that's decided today, it can still be done in time for the final property tax levy adoption. So with that being said, we'd like to flip the page over, and for our newer alderpersons here, we just want to go over the components of the property tax levy for the city of Berwyn. There's about 5 different components. First is the corporate, or that's our general fund. There's our bond and interest, or from our debt service fund, our library fund, as well as our police and fire pension funds. Please note that on our residents' tax bill, the city of Berwyn represents somewhere about 30% of the total tax bill. Flipping the page over, is come time to consider increases required for the following funds. First, our bond and interest, our police pension fund, and our fire pension fund. I'll get into the reason further. First, our bond and interest or debt service. The chart that I'm presenting indicates where our existing property tax levy compares to, and that's in green, compared to the red bars that represent our debt, our bond and interest payments for the next 5 years. As you can see, our current levy falls short of the required bond and interest payment. Now, flipping the page over, our existing property tax levy of 9.6. In 2025, the debt service fund reserves are able to fund that gap along with a modest draw on our line of credit with BMO Harris. But in 2026, we project another $3.2 million gap that will need to be funded by the following resources. One, our general fund balance or fund balance reserves, our, if the city decides to issue a general obligation bond, refunding, and then finally, the consideration for a bond and interest or debt service property tax levy increase. Again, these are covenants to our bondholders from prior issuances that the levy is meant to offset any future increases in principal and interest payments due. So that covers our debt service element of the levy. Our police pension fund, the employer normal cost that has risen to close to $2 million. That would require a levy increase of close to $430,000 compared to 2024 levy. Our fire pension fund is a lower amount at a little over $1.6 million, and of course that amounts to about $195,000 increase from the 2024 levy. And then flipping the page over, we have our general fund outlook. About a couple of months ago, we presented our year-end 2024 results, and which indicated that we had a deficit in 2024 due to the lower projected revenues. The thing that right now to consider, well, how will actual 2025, what the actual results are? It's too early to report. We have major revenue data and categories that we have not received from two sources. I think we're all aware of the property taxes. We don't have the final outcome of the property taxes. I believe the tax bills are finally going out within a week, which will not be collected until sometime mid to late next month, the earliest. And then, of course, the data from the Illinois Department of Revenue. We have 5 months of sales tax remittances that we have not received August through December. So it's too early to report the actual results for 2025. Flipping the page over, our 2026 budget, we've been deep in our meetings, not only with our Budget and Finance Committee, but even more importantly, our internal departments. We're working very closely to target lower expenditures. We're targeting somewhere between $67 to $70 million in expenditures, as we talked about previously. That draft we are expecting to present on December 9th. And the important thing to point out that our corporate or our general fund, an increase in the tax levy would help the city's efforts to balance our budget. I must point out that it's been about 4 years since the last general fund levy increase occurred. That was in 2021 for the year 2022, payable in 2022, which was 2%. Flipping the page over again, from the Cook County Assessor's website, it provides a calculation on how a levy impacts the average taxpayer. Utilizing this formula was the basis of us presenting the following options for all of you to consider. Flipping the page over again, we are making the assumption, this is the latest data, latest amounts that's available through the county, of $247,000 average single family home. So that's the basis for our impact to our Berwyn taxpayers. Flipping the page over again, we put those mechanics into this this calculation, and this inserting the option A, which is a levy just to increase to absorb the increase in the normal pension costs with our police and fire pension funds. With these calculations, if you flip the page over, it amounts to a $39 average taxpayer increase. I've listed the pros and cons of each of the options. First thing is you know, this is the least expensive option for our Berwyn taxpayers with the 247K average property tax value, but it does fund the entire normal cost for police and fire pension funds. The disadvantages or cons is that there's no increase for the bond and interest, which technically is a violation for our bond covenant. And of course, it puts pressure on the general funds to transfer a portion of their reserves or fund balance to pay the future debt service. And of course, there's no contribution for the long-term portion of the police and fire pension funds. And it's without it doesn't have a contribution for our general fund revenues. So that's option A. Option B, we're presenting an increase in the normal cost, but a $500,000 increase to our bond and interest or debt service. And again, it provides more funding for our bond and interest to be in better compliance with our bond covenants in addition to the normal cost. But it's the disadvantage is that it's slightly more for our taxpayers. It rises to $70. And of course, there's no contribution to our long-term portion for our police and fire pension funds, in addition to no general fund revenue contribution. So that's option B. Option C on the next page, we're presenting an increase of our normal cost, but $1 million increase to the debt service or bond and interest. You know, similar to the previous option, but it provides even more compliance with our bond covenants. But it's, you know, now the average taxpayer would have to absorb the $100 for that, and there's no long-term contribution for the police and fire pension fund, and there's no general fund contribution. Finally, option D is where we're increasing the normal cost and you know, lower bond and interest cost, contribution, but we're assigning $500,000 to the long-term portion of our police and fire pension funds. It's better funding for both areas, and it allows us. Currently, we are between 80 and 90% funded with our first responders. So it reflects upon favorably on our part to maintaining that percentage. You know, the biggest disadvantage is that it's the most expensive option for our taxpayers at $113. So the next slide just provides those options. It lists our 2024 levy, and then it puts all four options alongside and the average impact to the taxpayers, and for all of you to consider. And we'd like to open the floor up to any comments or. Yep.
Just to recap with all of the presentation that we just showed here, I know that we have option A, option B, option C, option D. With the tax levy increase, it would help the city of Berwyn in what we need with the general fund and with paying our pension with the fire and police down and the debt service. That's basically what the presentation is basically saying, that if we get a tax increase, because we haven't had it in a while, it will help us. So when you go to vote, just think about that in essence.
So we're looking for any questions, and we're
Or
looking for a
concerns
straw
that
poll
you have.
vote of whatever somebody suggests for the option A, B, C, or D.
Well, as always, always, you know that we try to budget conservatively within each department, as Ben has stated. We've been working with our department heads to make sure we budget, and last year we didn't have any tax. So with that, if you go with option D, which is $113 for the taxpayer, it would help us, if that's answering your question, if you go with option D.
Well,
I don't have an actual recommendation. I have what would be best for the city. Yes, Sarah?
Can you explain a little bit further about the violation of the bond covenant and what that means?
What that means is that our people that pay for our bonds, the expectation that we're going to increase taxes every year. So the result of not doing that looks unfavorably upon the city, and it could impact our rating.
Right. We don't want to look like we have a lot of liabilities. And when we hold a lot of liabilities, it makes our ratings look not well. I think we're at AC, what were we at?
We're at triple B.
Triple B, I'm sorry. I had to remember. Yeah, we're at triple B. So the more liabilities we have, we look like we don't have funding to operate a city. And we don't want to have liabilities like that. Any more questions?
Yeah, one for me. For 2026, you had mentioned the $3.2 million gap needs to be funded by the following sources: the general fund reserves and the GO bond refunding. Where's our fund reserves at today?
No?
Today, we're closer to around 18 to 20%.
We should be.
Our policy requirement is 16%. So we have a strong reserves, strong level of reserves. Obviously, more is better. However, that's one option to fill that for next year. We could make a payment based on those reserves, but now we're getting closer to the 16% requirement.
Right, and that's a problem for 2027.
Yeah. And always consider, we always will have the fire pension. Fire, we're closer to filling that obligation. With the police, we're still.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Concerns?
so in the last 4 years where we didn't do an increase, were those technically violations of the bond covenant?
We were able to, because our revenues were higher, there was not a sense of urgency for our general fund. You know, we had others, you know, our state tax revenues. We're able to make that up. But as we talked about in prior months, you know, when we're going to be able to return to those growth levels is uncertain.
We're anticipating $1.5 million short on the general fund this year, or $1.5 million decrease in the general fund?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say right now. We'll have a better idea, you know, in the weeks ahead.
And we're hoping that our revenues increase as the months go on. And next year, maybe by third quarter, whatever, but as of right now, we only can give you what we know.
Do we have an anticipation about like how much more will be drawn from the general fund based on the preliminary 26 budget? You know, I guess I'm just wondering, as we're looking toward the future, you know, are we going to be shorter in that fund to pay on like debt services, or will we have more left over? What's that expected to look like?
It's too early to tell.
Right. We won't have a definite, not even a definite answer to maybe next year, the third quarter. Every year, we anticipate what our revenues are going to be and if we're going to have a surplus. Well, we can't until the following year, and as the year goes on.
And plus, we're trying to predict human behavior as far as the global economic issues, the tariff issues. It's very
Any other, I'm sorry, Teddy? No, that's fine.
Well, you guys told me the general fund was short of about 1.5, but I don't know if you guys stated in previous meetings a couple months back, they were short 2 million.
Yeah, it's 2 million.
It's 2 million.
It's 2 million.
Just wanted to
But we're still trying to budget conservatively with the individual departments to make sure that we can maintain, or even go lower than 2 million. You're welcome.
Anybody else? Anybody have a suggestion?
I mean, I'm comfortable with option B or C. I feel like A puts us in a bad spot, obviously, and D feels like a tough decision to make right now with how people are struggling. So I don't know if folks have more ideas or thoughts on B or C.
Is there, so to differentiate between the two of those, is there like some sort of like projections we can see if we were to, like, what does that better compliance look like in dollars, like over the next couple of years? Is that gonna like get us a better rate, or is that just in hopes of getting a better credit score in general, or like what's kind of the goal?
You know, as far as, being able to show that growth, in the levy makes our external stakeholders more comfortable that we're generating the revenue needed to maintain our revenue. Now, a drop in our rating, indeed, it can result in higher interest costs because there are future bond issuances to consider for infrastructure and things like that.
We have a lot of projects, ongoing right now as well, so.
Okay, so we have a suggestion of option B or C. Anybody else have a suggestion? If not, we'll take a straw poll vote. We'll start with the higher one, option C. Do we have a straw poll vote, please?
Caldwell,
Nay.
Okay.
Bowman,
Nay.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fate,
Nay.
Pabon,
Nay.
Palashek,
It's a hard nay, but it's a difficult decision because we gotta look in the future. It's a hard nay because I know there's a lot of things that are going on. But it's a nay.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Nay.
2 yeas, 6 nays.
Okay. I'm a little confused as to why you brought it up and voted nay, but that's okay. Option B, can I have a roll straw
I have
poll
a
vote on that?
preference, so I can vote for my preference.
Well, you would have
Yeah.
just said your preference and
Yeah.
made it easier on us.
Oh, we have the time. We're all
Option
here.
B,
Option B, Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
Nay.
Leisure,
Nay.
Fate,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Nay.
Carmichael.
Aye.
5 yeas and 3 nays.
okay, so option B was the straw poll vote. Okay, folks?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the open agenda, we have the proposed gaming ordinance from Alderman Bowman. Alderman Bowman?
Yes, did you?
All right, good evening. Good evening, everyone. As Chair of the Licensing and Taxation Committee, I'm presenting the committee's completed work, proposed reforms to Chapter 79B of the Video Gaming License Ordinance. This work was presented presented during September 30th meeting. We heard from both residents and business owners. The discussions are reflected in the minutes. Materials already provided in the council packets on 10/28/25. The purpose of this evening's discussion is straightforward: to ensure that every member of this council understands both the why and what behind these reforms before we determine next steps. So the why. The need for reforms come down to 5 simple truths that we can't ignore. First, Berwyn has more than 70 gaming establishments and 4 additional gaming licenses on the way, 3 of them in the 1st ward and in the 2nd ward, which is one of the highest densities in Illinois, creating unhealthy oversaturation across our corridors. Second, the current licensing process bypasses City Council oversight, allowing decisions with deep neighborhood impact to be made by a single office without a public vote. Third, the imbalance hurts economic and social vitality, crowding out family-friendly businesses, inflating commercial rents, and shaping the kind of development we attract. Fourth, we are missing a clear community benefit mechanism. And finally, political integrity. Berwyn must guarantee that gaming dollars are not used to influence who holds power in the city. These reforms are about restoring transparency, balance, and trust, not eliminating gaming, but managing it responsibly for everyone's benefit. What's being proposed? The proposed ordinance introduced 5 reforms, each aligned with those pillars that I just mentioned. There's a tiered fee structure based on net terminal income, establishes that earn more, contribute more. Smaller family-run businesses contribute less. This is fairness in practice. Those that make more pay more. Council authority. All future gaming license decisions would require council review and vote. We already vote on things like handicap parking spaces, parties. It's only right that we vote on something with far greater community impact. Third time's a charm. 2-year moratorium and ad hoc committee. A pause on new licenses while an oversight committee studies saturation, economic trends, and best practice policy for long-term balance. Campaign contribution limit. A limit on political donations from gaming entities to any city candidate or official. This keeps our decision-making clean and restores public trust. And a community investment fund. All licensing revenue would go into a dedicated fund supporting 5 program areas: public health and addiction prevention, youth and after-school programs, community beautification, residential fire safety programs, and affordable housing and tenant assistance. Right now, Berwyn charges $1,000 per terminal. Our neighbor and fellow home rule municipality, Cicero, charges $1,500, $500 more per VGT, and has a push tax for every play, which they budgeted in 2025 $250,000 for. A push tax is no longer available for municipalities to implement. The proposed tiered model for Berwyn introduces fairness and proportionality, ranging from $1,250 to $2,000 based on a business's actual net terminal income. This approach ensures that larger, higher earning establishments help carry the community cost of gaming, while smaller operators aren't overburdened. It's competitive, responsible, and revenue positive without touching property taxes. So let me address a few different concerns that I've heard. This will hurt small business. In reality, it's the opposite. The tiered structure shields smaller operations. Those making less pay less. This is anti-gaming. No, this acknowledges that gaming is here to stay. We're simply aligning oversight with the level of impact. If we can review building permit fees and charge residents more, we should be reviewing gaming licensing fees. It's too soon or too complex. The ordinance is already drafted and follows every procedural requirement. The real question is whether we have the will to make Berwyn's gaming framework more ethical, balanced, and transparent. So this is not about being for or against gaming. It's about being for Berwyn's long-term health and integrity. These reforms modernize our code, strengthen democratic oversight, protect small businesses, and dedicate funds to public good, all while keeping Berwyn competitive and fair. With that, I welcome any clarifying questions or feedback as we move this forward.
Alderman?
Alderman, as far as this communication, I mean, I respect the fact that we want to bring some change. What is the true intent of all these? What is your true intent here?
I think I outlined the true intent. There's 5 pillars to that. Not only public good and the community well-being, but also having council authority and making sure that we have a voice in the decision-making of where this high-impact gaming operations go within the community. Again, there's one pending already in the second ward, 3 in the first ward. And these were not run through either alderman here.
Did you consult any of the following, the mayor's office, legal, finance, what this is going to do? I mean, once again, we discussed this in our committee, and I had some questions. You know, taking the money out of the general fund, you just heard what we were just going through. And taking that money out of the general funds can't happen. So, once again, my question to any alderman here, did you guys, what is everyone's feeling about this? What is, you guys, the thing is, here's the other big thing is, in my ward, there's roughly at least 15 empty businesses. Now, I understand that we want, and I put a communication forward about this. But if a business comes here and it's going to be a bar, restaurant that wants gaming, and this is a deal breaker to them, our taxes are, it's no joke here, and I brought this up. But my concern is this a deal breaker for a business? I mean, honestly, Pavone, what is your stance on this? I mean, don't you guys have empty store lots?
Let me address the first question you had. We were elected to bring forward legislation independently. If we went through the executive branch to get pre-approval, we would not be doing our residents any service whatsoever, and this would not be an independent body.
I don't think you need to go through the executive branch, but it would help if you had maybe some insight and help. When we were freshman aldermen, we did go through the executive body for help, and I remember him helping us make motions and everything. It's not a bad thing to ask for some help or consultation. But one of the things I noticed you have is a tiered fee structure. Smaller businesses pay less. So right now, if the machines are making more, they're paying more. So you would change all that?
It's not the machine, it's the licensing fee, it's net terminal income.
Right, but so you have
The gross income they take in.
Okay, and so if they're taking in more, they're paying more.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so would you change that? Because you would change your fee structure here.
That's not how it works now, Rich. That would be the proposal, I believe.
That's the proposal. How it works right now is a flat $1,000 VGT fee.
Oh, for the machines, you mean?
That's correct.
You're not talking about the income
Video
from
gaming
the
terminal
machines?
equates to VGT.
Okay. And then about the campaign contributions, it's unconstitutional. We can't tell someone, certain businesses, that was decided by the Supreme
We
Court.
can't prohibit it, we can limit it though, which is standard practice in other municipalities and also in Chicago.
I think we need to check on that. I don't know. That sounds like, I know that it went to the Constitution. The Supreme Court. We can't really tell someone, depending on what they do or where their money is from, that they can't contribute.
We're not telling them they can't contribute. We're
No.
telling them that they're limiting their contribution.
Okay, it seems a little confusing.
And as Josh, as the finance chair, I wish you would have approached me on this too. I mean, I need to know, changes that might be happening and what might be going on.
And did you consult legal with your
Guys,
ordinance?
we're not voting on it today. This is
No,
not being proposed
I know.
today. This
I'm
is,
just asking a question.
we can talk about it and then we can go to legal, we can run it by the mayor.
But
to-
That would be
to give
standard
comments.
procedure.
It's a
You
committee
put
of
you put
whole,
your
they're asking
ordinance
questions, they have the right to
on
ask questions.
council
Sure,
the
but-
last 2 weeks ago.
No, to
So why
refer
didn't you
to
do
refer-
this yet?
He's asking a question.
I mean,
Are we
it's fine,
supposed-
yeah.
So,
We're here to discuss it today.
Procedurally,
We're
what would,
discussing it.
what would
Right.
make sense is any of us are allowed to sponsor legislation and talk about it in committee. That's what was done here. We do not have to go through legal to get that done. We hash it out, okay, in committee, we bring it to Cal, okay, and then if this gets through Cal with the various amendments or things that we can agree on or disagree on, legal would then codify that.
And also, I see the community investment fund. So are we actually trying to make money, or are we trying to prohibit
You're moving
gaming?
money into one area that doesn't go, right now it goes in the general fund, correct, Mayor?
And that's no difference than what we've done and you all voted on in the past with the cannabis revenue.
Not all of it.
Well, sorry. I'm just saying in general, the body here.
But so you're looking for different things to fund. So are you looking to make money so you can fund more?
As of right now, that would project about $250,000 in additional licensing fees, yes.
So this would be a.
Based on the current tiered fee structure. And again, I put a disclaimer on my initial note here. The tiered fees is a discussion point for today, and I understand the business feedback on this. And this is where I want to talk openly, and if that's too extreme, if that's too high, what is that right number? Is it keeping the same? Is it $12.50 across the board? Is it only the top 10% pay more? So I'm open to ideas and
So is
collaboration.
this
So
is just
right
a-
now, you're saying this would cost the business about 250,000 more based on the terminals we have here
That's correct, yeah, annually.
annually
Mhm.
from businesses.
And then you'd fund these other things.
That's correct, yes.
And Alderman Vile, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bector, can I ask you a question? So the 250, we gain that revenue, but the moratorium, how would that affect the revenue? Do you know what the stats for the last 2 years or?
That's based off of existing locations. So that wouldn't change as those businesses stay open.
But, so we're not, the moratorium on the new business, we're not gonna allow new ones, so how, like, what's the impact on the general fund or, you know?
So we would maintain, so right now, let's say we kept the fees the same. There's 383 video gaming terminals that generate $383,000. That's completely separate from the municipality share of the gaming revenue. Businesses take 32.54%, the state gets a little bit more than the municipality, and so as of right now, that wouldn't impact new businesses. That licensing fee would just increase for those existing licenses.
It would impact your business, but how does it impact the city's, like, bottom line? Like, is it,
It would increase revenue.
with the moratorium
With,
on new business?
yes, with the increased licensing fees.
I have a comment slash questions. I think first I'll say, I agree that some changes need to be made. I know that may shock some people who believe everything they read on social media regarding my background, but the lottery is a very different thing than this, and I haven't worked there in over 10 years. But I think when asking about the legal question, I think in asking it on the front end is because otherwise we're somewhat talking about hypotheticals. So like if it's something that needs to be done or can be done or can't be done, and we're weighing in on that if it's not going to fly legally. I think also one of the issues that I might have is it possible to separate this into several different ordinances? And why does it have to be one package? I think you might have a better chance of getting some support of, from multiple folks here if things were separated out. I don't really understand why. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at your committee meeting. I did watch it online. And then I think also to the revenue question, just having an understanding of the changes you're trying to make, one, given the conversation we just had, two, some of what you said, perhaps, is that already happening? Is it, you know, regarding where the money goes, if it's just in the general fund, but also are we duplicating efforts between what the township does as far as the health department there? So those are some of my questions. I think I do agree that it's saturated. So there's certain pieces of this that I can get behind. And then my last thought, when you said about the city and the contribution limits and things like that, I know that's higher. It's an annual rate. It's like $1,500. So there's just some different pieces there, perhaps to take into consideration.
No, absolutely, and thank you for that, Alderman. Certainly, in terms of several different ordinances, I felt it advantageous to present it all instead of piecemeal, and then if it need to be based on conversations at COW, broken up in different parts based on the collaborative discussion here, then so be it. In terms of the already earmarking funds for the general fund already going to, let's say, residential fire safety programs, absolutely, I think that is a question mark and a mystery right now, because I think everything goes, in a lot of ways, a lot goes to the general fund, and it's just plugged in where it's needed. I will say that sitting in the fire, or Alderman Fate's finance meeting with the fire department, one of the things that Chief Caniglio brought up was increasing funds in community fire safety programs, and that was something that's become ever more important. So it's consistent with, some of those programs are consistent with needing more money, and that's been evident by what's already been proposed in the draft budgets.
So is your idea to expand this and make more money, or, so you're trying to make more money for the general fund and these projects? Oh, I thought your idea was to limit the gaming.
So the idea is to stop the oversaturation and continued growth of gaming, but raise the fees on the existing gaming, which ultimately generates more revenue than we are seeing today.
So continue the growth of gaming?
Not continue the growth.
Oh.
Alderman, and once again, I commend you on trying to do the change, and I said it in our committee meeting, and I understand it, but once again, don't want to be the dead horse, and you explained that, well, you're doing it through the committee whole, and this is the process that you want to go to. But with my experience, it's, because there are holes in this, okay? That's why I would sit down with the mayor's office, and then you could at least say that, hey, that didn't work out, bring it back to the table. You sat down with finances, you found out the true numbers of certain things, and you got feedback from them. And then you could stand that ground, and you could go to legal and say, okay, well, this is what, if you're trying to put this together in this communication, this is not going to stand ground.
Right.
This is going to be met with a lawsuit, okay, or and it's going to cost us money, okay. But
Alderman, respectfully, can we focus on the ordinance itself as opposed to in the content of it?
it's the whole entire ordinance here. This is once again, and I discussed this with you, and I wanted it. I explained
it's our duty to legislate, not go through the executive branch as a precondition to introducing things.
And then with the
That's not how it works.
Okay, and then, sir, with the moratorium, we have one, and it's with the gaming cafes. Okay, they're restricted.
Can you identify those 15 gaming cafes? And how does that differ from the licensing? And why do we have 71 licenses out there?
That I would refer to the liquor commissioner, and
Ordinance provides only for 15 gaming cafes.
so.
Last time we raised the fee structure.
Pardon me?
Do you know the last time we raised the fee structure on this?
It had to be tied to the home rule condition, because home rule, and that's why it's an important distinction. If you're non-home rule, 250 is the max per VGT. So comparing apples to apples, especially from a demographic perspective, Cicero is on par with what we should at least be charging.
Is there a way, and I know you said the push tax we can't do, I'm assuming the state banned that via their gaming laws. Is there any way that we could find this revenue by somehow putting it on the user instead of on the business?
Amplify the harm to people that might be addicted to gaming. I mean,
Real quick, that push tax was met with a lawsuit, like with,
That lawsuit has been dropped, however, they did limit that you can't do push
yeah,
tax.
those
So-
that had it are grandfathered in, but they don't have to anymore.
But what we did pass an ordinance. Originally, the owner was responsible for the entire $1,000 for the machine. We passed an ordinance that the vendor had to pay half. So the vendors are actually paying half of the licensing for the machines.
and Alderman, one more thing. We have the 2 acres of land, and I brought this up, so this is nothing new. You know, huge development possibly that's gonna happen in your ward. Okay, by putting a moratorium on this and restricting anything, I mean, it's a huge negative block. I mean,
I disagree, and as I mentioned during the committee meeting, we wouldn't consider a strip club there or a gun range, so why would we consider more gaming or a casino there, for example?
well, we
And
have,
like, you didn't, I'm sorry, excuse me. I think we have to consider those things and say that, no, this is not what we want to continue our, quote-unquote, economic development, because this is not economic development. And if we're not attracting developers, we talked with the executive director from the BDC, and we're going through an RFP process, and yes, we didn't get much from that RFP, but that certainly doesn't mean that that will never be developed because gaming is excluded.
well, in our meeting, we discussed this about how gas stations and mini marts requested and discussions between the mayor and myself, and we're like, this is a big no, it's not gonna happen. I mean, this is why I once again, I extend to at least sit down and, I mean, I know we're doing it here, but to at least sit down and talk to the mayor, talk to the legal, talk to the finance department, talk to the city clerk's office, because some of the people that you need to get the backing and figure this stuff out, to who's gonna actually control, the hours or the spreadsheet that's supposed to be in one, I forgot which communication it is, about the money that's supposed to be collected. So that's, I mean, there's so many things that need to be done and to be looked at, and I stated that last time, and
Yeah,
that's it.
But
That's
we
the
should-
whole point of the process, that we're engaging in right now, is to sort of hash out some of the major details, and then that way it can kind of go through the correct streams that it needs to go to in order to make sure that this is being applied legally and, in a way that is going to fit within our ordinances. I agree that gaming is not economic development. That's something that I've heard from even the BDC, and I think that you sort of point to how there is a line, that, okay, we're not going to allow gaming terminals in a gas station. That's your line, right? But a lot of people have different lines, and I think that what Alderman Bowman is bringing up is, we all may have differences in terms of where that line gets drawn, but at least you have a body then that has to come to consensus about where that line should be, instead of having that power remain in one, have that be one decision maker who's making that decision, right?
So when I asked you if the 7-Eleven, they want gaming, and I told them to talk to their alderman in several of your wards, I guess that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Certainly
That's
matters.
exactly what I did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did, but unfortunately, I don't have a voice in this conversation because my input is not wanted, so I'll just stay out.
Alderman Palachek, you said that you saw a bunch of holes in this. Can you point out some of those holes?
I don't have the exact, listen, I was at the meeting for 3.5 hours.
I
and
watched
and-
it.
and I
It was excruciating.
And I pointed out, and we discussed it. It wasn't a huge argument, but I brought all of them up. And as we're talking, I'm bringing some of them as they're popping back in my memory. I don't have that communication right in, hold on, gotta pull it up. these other papers here. But, you know, Citizens United, they're right there, you know, what is that gonna cause? You know, the moratorium, you know, as far as, we have, and by all means, I understand, because I put that communication together, I don't know how many years ago, but I'm the one that put it together. So I understand the passion here. Okay?
I mean, I'll say for my part, I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and, you know, that's why it was 3.5 hours, and I apologize to anybody who had to watch that online. But, you know, and my goal was to make sure that questions that I had were addressed and clarified, and concerns were brought up. And I think that there are outstanding questions that we actually have to talk about, like, you know, about fees, right? I think that that's a big question mark. I think there's a question mark about where the money ends up going. Should it be partitioned to this separate fund, or should it remain in the general fund? You know, those kinds of things. Those seem to be two big ones that
But
are
Alderman, we
outstanding.
just heard, it's a shell game right now. We just heard that we're short money.
We need to raise revenue.
Okay, I understand that, but what did we pull straw on? Plan B. Okay, but I'm just saying, but you're gonna take money, but you're gonna take money from one fund
Well, I think
and slide it over, and it just, and then it causes a shortfall.
I think
Add the two,
I think Alderman Bone was saying, you know, it would be partitioned, yes, toward certain priorities to assure that those are funded, but a lot of those align with city goals that are already part of our budgeting
and
presently.
Alderman, from, you said one of the things that, what else did it, well, some of this money that he wants to put in is supposed to go to the healthcare stuff. Well, that's township. So now we're gonna be taking over township duties. So this is exactly, I mean, there's so, I mean, that's, like it's,
A great thing that we can talk about in the open account, that's, you know, that system already exists, that's not something that needs to be a part of it. I don't think that that's a valuable way to spend the money right now. Like, in general, does everybody think that there's like an oversaturation of gaming here in Berwyn? Like, I'd like to get like, you know, room temp of where we think that we need to go with the gaming. If like, there's no problem whatsoever, there's a minor problem, there's a large problem, like, where are people at?
Well, that's a good question. Did you get any feedback from businesses, legal, or residents at all?
Yes, I had my committee meeting and definitely got a lot of feedback from businesses, and also talked to the BDC.
What did the businesses say, Josh? I was concerned with that, with the raise of the fees and everything.
The fees were the primary concern, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to try to burden our businesses, as, you know, we don't have to, so
And did you
we
get,
need to look at that.
was there feedback from legal about any of it?
Feedback from legal?
Did you?
No, again,
No.
I sponsored legislation, brought it through the proper procedure. Once it leaves Cal, it'll have legal review.
And what about residents?
Yes, this is a year and a half's worth of research and hundreds of residents.
I have a question. Your page about the impact on commercial rent inflation, I was just curious for a little bit more. I didn't see any sources with that, or because I was curious to perhaps read a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I can certainly send you more information on that in terms of commercial rent inflation, but at a very simplistic level, once you introduce video gaming terminals, the earning potential for that particular property goes up, okay? And if you're leasing that from a landlord, the landlord knows this, okay? So if your rent is $1,000 currently without VGTs, you introduce them, okay? You can see how much that restaurant is earning or that particular establishment is earning. So you're raising that rent. Let's say that business leaves to go to Brookfield, okay, and they want to introduce a new business here. In order, that landlord is used to accepting $2,000 for their rent, not $1,000 anymore.
So is this based on some specific cases here?
In terms of like Berwyn?
This kind of
I think this is a general approach here, yes.
Okay.
I like you said, this is for any alderman that wants to chime in here. We just, was it last committee meeting or two committees, meetings ago that we had BDC here talking about development for, the bank, the Berwyn Bank building, not the Berwyn Bank building, the McNeil, no, the bank building that's across the street from McNeil,
Yeah, the Berwyn National Bank.
the Berwyn National Bank. You know, and he was stating that, you know, it's
Berwyn
difficult,
State
it's difficult, now this is for anybody, chime in, that it's difficult for us to get a developer here to work on that project there, because what? What did he state? That we're at a very affordable rent, it's like $25 a square foot, he said, and it's for a developer to come in here, okay, comparable cities, it's higher. I don't want the rent to go up, but this is what, it just blows my mind. You know, it's like, okay, so, but if you want a developer to come in, they want to be able to bring tenants in, and so, once again, is this going to squash development?
Well, I think in some of it's a great question, and it's something to consider, but with RFPs we saw, especially for the Windsor property, some of them already had very interested tenants. With the insinuation that these were not gaming establishments, that they were brands with titles.
I understand it, but there's just the fact of the matter of, like, the keeping the rent down and so forth and so on. It's a double-edged sword here, but I'm just stating, you just heard it from the BDC, saying that it's difficult for any major developer to come in here and invest a tremendous amount of money to flip a building or to invest in the community when he's not gonna, these are not my words. This, you were here, everybody was here. That's, I'm saying this is for anybody. So,
I can speak since it's first ward, you know, this was actually a major concern brought up by residents at my first ward meeting was, you know, okay, you know, because I talked about how we'll be receiving RFPs for the State Bank building, and I'll tell you, there were multiple people who brought up, you know, I really want to see something good go in here, and please no gaming. So I think that there's a general sentiment among residents that they don't want that. They feel that it is oversaturated, and so, you know, in terms of attracting development, yeah, of course we want to be able to offer developers attractive deals that they'll want to take, but also we have to provide things that are going to attract residents to want to go to those spaces in order to produce the revenue that they will need in order to run a business.
for me, for this, it's like, bring a scalpel to it. Don't bring a sword. You know, there's ways to trim around and move around this, and that's all I'm suggesting. And that's when in our meeting, I brought up the concerns, and I have no problem discussing it. But some of the questions are still not answered.
What
You
are
know,
those questions?
I just lobbed a bunch of them at you, and those are the ones that I asked at the meeting.
I think we've addressed those. So what's outstanding to you right now, in your opinion?
Well, I asked you back then, right off the bat, I just brought it up again, like, did you just consult legal? Did you just consult the mayor's office? Did you consult, hold on, it is a concern, but
We are ruled by, Robert's Rules of Order. We cannot interrupt each other.
So, I brought this up and I said, hey,
We also can't speak in committee meetings if we're not members of that committee.
what do you mean? He didn't speak.
I'm referring to my meeting. So
Yeah, but hold on, clarify that, because he didn't speak. Perbone spoke. I said.
about follow-up?
Hold on.
What about follow-up
Hold on,
meetings?
please, hold for 1 second. If
Making
you're gonna
sense.
call it out, at your committee meeting, there was 3 of us
I did
that
not
were
speak.
on the board.
No, you didn't.
Perbone was there, Leisure was there.
Correct.
Perbone said something, and I can't remember what it is, but I didn't bring it up. You just brought it up. Rich, and I said, hey, I don't
Correct.
think that you're allowed to speak in a committee meeting. And that's what I said. And Rich leaned over and said, that's true. It's a violation. That's all, and that was it.
No,
And I didn't bring it up.
I agree
I'm not
with
here
you.
to throw,
I
I'm not
agree.
here to throw anything.
I agree.
I just brought it up, but you just tried to throw him under the bus.
No. I didn't say what Rich said is correct, okay? But that needs to be applied uniformly for all committee meetings for this entire council.
Oh,
I think
I'm not disagreeing
it is,
with
but
you on that.
If it's your committee, you have to enforce it.
Listen, We learned.
I'd
That's
like to
okay. We move
refocus on the
forward. We learn,
ordinance.
we're learning.
So
Okay,
let's
so we're moving
let's
forward.
refocus on the ordinance again.
Okay, so I
you
have
guys
a
any
couple of questions. I would like to hear what the businesses think and what the people think. You talked to a bunch of residents. Could we get those feedbacks? And could we hear from the businesses and the residents and work on that? This is kind of a mishmash, so I really don't, I think you need legal and others. But if we can get at least feedback from the feedback you has received from residents and businesses, it would go a long way to, I think, alleviate some of our questions.
I mean, Rich, what sort of feedback are you looking for? Survey? What do you want?
Anything,
Testimonials?
anything that was
emails?
done, anything they have, that's great. Whatever you have.
Well,
mean,
what,
I
do,
think-
what do we want to do to move forward? So we're here today. I mean, we can throw this whole thing out and start from scratch if we want to, but like, what do we want to do to move forward? Do we want to put out a survey asking people how they feel about this? Do we want to do an open listening session? Like, what kind of next steps do we want to take? This is something that people are passionate about. This is something that people care about. We've had acknowledgments from the majority of people on council today that this has been an ongoing problem here. So if we want to take steps to do something, is that just we need to have private conversations with Mayor Lavero and legal first before we bring it to a listening session? Or like
Well,
what?
could we do a listening session right now with anyone who showed up?
This is Alderman Bowman's proposal. Alderman Bowman needs to tell us what he wants the next step to be, and we'll follow that. If it's another committee of the whole, whatever it might be, let him propose it.
Yeah, I'd like to understand, again, based on the 5 pillars, what's not workable and what is workable currently, and have an understanding of that, and then we can work with amending the language of this draft ordinance, and that's why it's a draft.
I mean, I'll just say, we heard from quite a few business owners who are concerned about the fees, so that seems to be something that I think should be discussed and actually like workshopped so that we can get to a number, because I think without that, then there's no, like, it's hard to be able to move forward with something that we can all feel confident on. So I think that's something that maybe having like a straw poll or like something like that in order to make sure that council is aligned in terms of the fee structure.
Correct. We need a discussion with our business owners, and I'd like to just see a flat fee, not here by revenue and everything, just
Flat fee.
flat fee.
Do you have any proposal for keeping it flat at 1,000 currently?
It's currently at 1,000, and, you know, I don't want to hurt businesses, but, you know, if it was at 1,200 or less, or, you know, that would be fine, but you know, we leave it at 1,000 even, I don't know. But we got to think about our businesses first.
Could we do a straw poll on 1,200?
Because you were proposing, what, a structured fee from, 1,500 all the way up to 2,000? Or
1,250 all the way up to 2,000.
1,250 to 2,000.
That's correct, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I'd like to see, if you over here, I've spoken to several of my businesses, and so I'm aware of their stance on it. But, you know, hearing from others, I know there's some here, and in general, before kind of weighing in on that hypothetical number.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with that one, because I'd like to walk Cermak and walk 16th and talk to some of the, you know, but it's gonna take a little while, obviously, because you're not gonna run across every owner of the establishment, so it might take us a little while. But I would highly recommend all aldermen to go out and not just the business owners, you could obviously talk to everybody.
But absolutely, I think we'll absolutely get that feedback, and a workshop is a great idea, Micah, and I think we can definitely come back to Cal and discuss more with some amendments based on the fees and potentially some other things that we talked about as part of your concerns and the council's concerns.
Would you be willing to hear from the businesses tonight that are here?
I think it would be appropriate that we ended this like this. If we're not going to do a straw poll, let's get the appropriate businesses and residents here, so it's a uniform vote and there's proper representation from all involved.
So at this stage, Alderman Bowman, what is your proposition with respect to how we're going to handle this? Are you going to continue it generally to another committee of the whole once everybody has done their homework? What is your pleasure?
Yeah, my thought right now for the next committee of the whole
It might not go on the next one. You know, you have to understand that there's several different things that are going on committee of the whole, and I have to set that agenda. So it may not go on the next one, and I don't know that everyone here is gonna be able to get to their businesses and everything in that
Two
period
weeks
of
is a
time.
little quick, Josh.
Okay, so.
Because we all have a
so
lot of
would-
things
would a-
going
a
in
month
life.
Would a month be fair?
30 days would possibly be fair, right, Mayor? That would put us to mid-December, and I think that'd be fair. We'd have time to talk to our businesses and feel things out and see what the handle is on that, so.
I can respect that. Thank you all.
Will we be able to meet outside of council of the whole for something like this, as like as a whole body?
In what
You-
format?
Yeah, you'd have to be very careful about violating the Open Meetings Act. So
Yeah,
I would
obviously with
suggest
an
that-
open meeting with public notice. sort of
Yeah,
thing.
you'd have, but public notice is gonna take more than 30 days.
More than 30?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
gonna have to, you're gonna have to do that in a separate location, you have to get the location, you have to put the public notice out, you have to send out the notices or put in the paper, however you wanna do it.
Mhm.
I don't know who's gonna take care of that.
Okay.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
The
So
clerk's
this is probably
department
your
does
best
that.
forum.
okay, sounds good.
Alderman,
The
just to
clerk's
make
department
sure,
can help
would you
you,
want to hear from the
if they
businesses
have
today, as long as they're here, or no?
So no, I think the next step will be to talk with our residents, talk with our business owners, and then bring this forward back to Cal 30 days from now, approximately.
Is that everybody's opinion?
Can I just ask, are there other issues other than fee structure that people feel are kind of like of concern? Because I don't want this to be, you know, like, oh, you know, next time we get together, well, you know, now there's this other issue with it.
Well, number two seems like, I think we're tampering with our form of government, so I think that's why legal has to be consulted on that.
Sorry, what's number 2?
Taking authority away from, giving authority to the council, taking it from the mayor, or even sharing it. And then also maybe 4, just to check on the legality.
So are you recommending legal review after this meeting?
I think that would help with this. It's a bit of a mishmash. I think legal would help a lot if you could.
For 2 and 4, Rich?
2 and 4. 1, I'm not sure what that. So we talked about that, but the more money they make, the more they spend, or the more they send in. So I don't know that that's necessary. The tier thing. Are we still? You said you may not do that.
Well, again, that's why we're talking about it. I understand that. That's why it was put on there for discussion purposes, and it sounds like that is a major sticking point, especially from the businesses that were at my committee meeting and others as well. So I respect that, and I'm here to take that feedback into consideration, absolutely.
Okay. So 1, 2, 4, and then 3. We already have a hold on the gaming cafes. So would this only be like restaurants?
Pardon me?
The moratorium, would that only apply to restaurants? We already have a cap on the gaming cafes.
This is for gaming licenses.
Okay, but we already have that on the cafe, so you would be only referring to certain.
Essentially, it's like
Additional
no
bars and restaurants.
no new licenses.
No new
would be
licenses at all.
allocated. Only renewals for existing ones.
Okay, so that needs a little, I think, a little work, so we can understand that.
Okay, so if I'm hearing it right, next steps in terms of from this meeting to move forward, having legal review, some of the legalities based on 2, 4, and 1, Rich, in terms of those items.
Right.
And then giving time for each council member to talk with their respective businesses and residents and get their feedback.
What if one of these individuals wants to sell their business? Does that mean that they cannot sell it with the idea that the new owner can get gaming?
Are those
Is
transferable?
moratoriums in?
Yeah, are licenses
transfer-
transferable?
Pardon?
Are
they
licenses
transferable?
transferable?
If they're licensed now, but the new person's not licensed.
Okay. So I
If they're
think that
selling their
would,
business, are you drawing a moratorium on that the new person can't have the gaming?
I think that would be the
That's what you're saying is a
implication.
moratorium?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, now that I wouldn't be for. I wouldn't be for that. If the business is sold, they're expecting that to be there. If there's 5 terminals sitting there, you can't tell them they can't have that. So that would have to be something we'd have to
So some kind of a transfer of a license.
Transferable, yeah, well.
Well,
Or
there's
not,
no-
not
You
official
can't transfer-
transfer, but like some type of a situational.
Correct,
Yep.
correct, because that's a big part of selling a business also, so.
Okay.
And telling a new owner, no, you can't have this is not gonna be good.
I agree.
No, I appreciate that, thank you.
And Alderman, once again, my door is always open. I've helped a lot of aldermen with legislation. I'm sure we can talk, but should you decide to come to my office, I have no problem.
And
appreciate-
that's what mileage is, like, I understand we don't want any more new gaming cafes, but a lot of restaurants are hurting right now, and bars included, because of what's going on. And I don't see, like, for instance, let's say I go to Lobos, there's 2 gaming stations. I don't see the big deal with, going to a restaurant and they have the gaming, because, I mean, they need that to support their business, because it's so slow. But you're saying like a hard no on that?
Well, I'm saying that if we look at how much has been donated from a campaign contribution standpoint, that would over justify the fees.
So again, the campaigning thing, I think we have to run that by legal. I think that's been decided.
And Libby, I can chime in too, just in terms, I mean, I have a small business corridor, it's a commercial corridor, it's not really large, but, I mean, even businesses in my corridor are tired of seeing places pop up with gaming inside. You know what I mean? So even not the cafe part, right? I'm just saying like having machines, in restaurants, in their places of business. Yeah. I understand that, but I think just from the perspective of the residents who live here, they want to see a different type of economic development in our community. Yeah. Yeah. But what is the difference then? I guess that's my question, right? If it's a cafe, like from your perspective, what is the difference between a
My
cafe
perspective hasn't been
and a
asked,
license? Well,
Alderman,
I'm
so-
asking you. I'm asking you if
asked
you,
me.
yeah, if you'd
I-
be open
I
to
c-
share
I
that.
could come across with a very easy compromise
Right.
with respect to this ordinance, but I've not been asked, so I don't know what to tell you at this point.
But I think my question is, if a restaurant opens up, right, and opens up day one and it's a restaurant, and a month later it has 5, machines,
I was
right?
approached by a young lady who's opened up a taqueria in the 2nd Ward.
Yep.
And I told her I could not give her gaming because of what's going on here right now, and she actually asked for it. Whether or not she buys that building for $500,000 and opens that taqueria, I don't know.
Josh, can I also ask, I didn't see in here, I'm not a big fan, of these giant 10 and 12-foot banners out front that say gaming, and I didn't see anything with banner, I think we could eliminate that, and people know where these places are.
Yeah,
You know.
that's actually, it's already
I
written in
mean, I
the
don't know how
ordinance.
others feel on that.
Banner
but to me,
flags are,
they-
banner
you know,
flags are
that-
already written
I
in the
believe,
ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, don't we have already a sign ordinance? We already have some kind of ordinances that
I think it was
eliminate-
changed when we did all
Yeah,
the
but
new stuff.
I think Alderman's right, it's maybe not been enforced appropriately
It hasn't
either,
been
so we may have to
enforced.
do that,
So, I mean, I
The
would
bars
just.
are good.
if
You just
that's
have
what
a-
comes out of all
Yeah,
this.
no, and I get it.
Cafes are sometimes these 10, 12-foot banners flapping in the wind out
And
there.
a lot of that is done by the vendors themselves.
And I would like to see an end to that, and just people know where these places are.
Alderman Fate, are you talking even like the sandwich boards outside and stuff like that, or are you mostly worried about just like the really
big,
big
tall,
stuff?
10-foot waving flags. So, they're still out there.
We're just reviewing the signage ordinance and
Correct.
how we could
Yes.
incorporate that into this.
And let's keep that as a separate item right
Yep.
now, so we can concentrate on what we have here. But at this stage, we'll continue this for another committee of the whole. We'll try and get it back on in 30 days, and I expect the aldermen to do their homework, check with their businesses, check with their residents. Is that what we've agreed on?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn with the
So
committee? of the whole?
moved.
Second.
Palachik by Fate, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You guys have it, thank you. Clerk Garcia, can we call the council meeting to order, please?
Good evening. Caldwell,
Here?
Bowman,
Here.
Leja. Bates.
Here.
Pabon.
Here.
Palashak. Brockman. Carmichael.
Here.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could please keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Ann Boren, one of our CSOs who passed away earlier today, as well as all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Emily Pape. I'm at 6930 29th Place, and
Excuse me, ma'am, is that microphone mine? Because I can't.
It is on.
Is
Yes,
it? It's on?
it is. Yes.
Okay, now, yeah.
And I just wanted to give a little feedback in regards to the committee of a whole that we just saw in relation to the video gambling situation and the Alderman Bowman's suggested changes. To me, it seems like video gambling really doesn't bring a lot of value to our community. It extracts value from our community in the sense that it takes money from our residents and puts it in the pockets of the gaming commission and the people that, you know, have the machines in their buildings. And I think that regardless of your, you know, ethical stance on it, or however you'd like to say, I think that increasing our fees per machine that we charge as a city to be comparable with the cities that are next to us makes absolute logical sense. And there's no reason not to do that. And I think also looking at putting a moratorium on additional machines that are being brought into our city is logical as well. And I think that, you know, I would encourage the councilman or the alderman to try to look at this from the perspective of the residents and not be so combative when talking about new ideas that are being brought to the table. Because the amount of arguing about the situation was a little disappointing to see as a resident. So I think that, you know, bringing an idea to the table and being collaborative and talking about the ins and outs of it is a reasonable thing to do in a committee of a whole meeting. And just attacking people for bringing the ideas doesn't necessarily seem to get anybody anywhere. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Can you please repeat either your name or what ward number?
3rd Ward.
Thank you.
Hey all, Dave Peterson, 8th Ward. Whoops. Don't touch the podium. Don't touch the podium. So I'm here to speak in favor of canceling the flock contract. This is my 3rd time here. I came twice in the summer. I gave citations about the law breaking that the feds have been doing in our neighborhood. And I hope that everybody who's been unjustly had their human rights violated here in Berwyn, who is one of our neighbors, sues the hell out of the city. So cancel this surveillance tool. Folks who are using it are not to be trusted. Like the feds. Have a good night.
Hi, Sabina Kraus, 3rd Ward. Yeah, I think there must be other places, other companies like Flock or Flocken, whatever, the license plate reader to consider, you know, if they did something that actually the state of Illinois said wasn't right. But I wanted to talk about the cow meeting real quick. There was talk about, you know, increasing the tax levy. I totally get it, right? Like we continuously have to, you know, pay expenses and retirement funds and all that good stuff. You know, the stuff that was presented, if I remember correctly, was like anywhere from like $39 to $130 for 240 $9,000 building or whatever. And I think you guys were kind of talking maybe like the lower end, which I think would be great, you know, just because it's going to be harder for many more people. Coming soon, AI, you know, all these other things that are happening, people losing their jobs. So, you know, I think it was like 70, the B option was like $70, which seems like somewhat feasible to do with. So I hope that aldermen will consider, you know, on the lower end, of course, matching what we have to do. And then, you know, as we're talking about, you're asking the resident to pay more taxes. You're also talking about the gaming license reform or something like that. And, you know, I think it's just fair if residents have to pay more, you know, why not match the fees to other towns, like my predecessor here said. And also, you know, just consider, like, if someone makes a lot more money, potentially have them pay something more. So I hope that all the aldermen that are going to go out and talk to their businesses, please also talk to your residents, because I'm assuming that not all businesses live in town, right? I'm sure that some of those business owners live in Riverside or other places, and I haven't seen gaming in Riverside, for example. So it's an interesting choice. And I would like to see not as much gaming in town. Of course, if a business needs it to supplement income, I don't want them to die. But I think it's just fair for the community to also look good. And when I have people come from the city and say, wow, we have a lot of gaming cafes and stuff by the train, they're like, what's up with that? And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, it's a revenue stream, but, you know, it makes it a little bit less appealing to come to Berwyn, maybe, you know, for potential future residents. And that's it.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak, Mayor, Council. My name is Eddie Wilkowski, and I'm a business owner. I've been in this industry for the last 22 years. I own 7 bars with gaming, 1 in Lyons, 1 in North Riverside, and 5 right here in Berwyn. I also currently sit on the board of directors of the BDC for the last 4 years. I am also currently the director of the Lyons-McCook Business Association for the last 12 years, and in the past, I've sat on the Board of Economic Development in Orland Park. I've done business in Orland, Palos, Tinley, Lamont, Chicago, Bridgeview, Summit, to name a few, and some I've forgotten. So I've seen how governments work. I'd like to also add that my opinions here tonight have nothing to do with the BDC or any of its board members or of its director, David Husselberg. First, I'd like to discuss the VGT fees you guys are trying to increase. Berwyn is already one of the highest around at $1,000 per machine. Brookfield is at $250 a machine. North Riverside, $300. Lyons, $250. Broadview, $250. That's just to name a few. Cicero, which you're using as your template for change, is the highest at $1,500 a machine, which to us businesses is nuts and completely out of line. That's one of the reasons I would never open up a business in Cicero. Your tiered pricing structure, I feel, is inconsistent, considering the smallest earners' fees would go up from $1,000 currently right now to $1,250 per machine, $1,500 for middle earners, and $2,000 for the highest earners. So you mean to tell me $12,000 a year for 6 machines? In a time when we just made it through COVID, are dealing with tariffs and rising prices, and in some areas of Berwyn where property taxes have doubled, some instances for commercial businesses, ICE is threatening a large Hispanic population here in Berwyn, and with all of these factors, we have seen a decline in customers, with all of our costs going up, and now facing a fee increase. If anything, our fees should go down, not up. This could be the straw that breaks the camel back. Yes, Berwyn has a lot of gaming, but it looks as though we have plateaued out because the market seems saturated. If we have to pay $12,000 a year in fees, that's literally 10% of our revenues. 10% to the city doesn't make sense business-wise. Most of these gaming locations went into vacant storefronts that would otherwise still be vacant. With these fee increases, you will see people go out of business. Normal mom and pop ice cream shops, repair shops, and the like that went out of business before and left those stores vacant, they won't be coming back if those spaces open up again. This will lead to more vacant spaces. Is that what you want? To push businesses out of town, or to make it not attractive to come here? Doesn't sound pro-business to me. Right now, there's currently 18 locations in town making $2,500 or less a month. I've spoken to the operators, and if these increases are going through, the operators are going to pull out of those locations. So that means 18 more businesses will be closing. You'll be losing licensing fees in general, taxes, and the like that the town needs. Secondly, I'd like to address a 2-year waiting period for licenses. That's definitely unacceptable. Gaming revenues help pay the bills and payroll. Waiting 2 years is a joke for what you propose. You won't see new businesses coming into town. With a wait like that, current businesses that also seek a gaming license will be out of business before you even make up your mind if they can get it or not. Also, there's no reason to strip our mayor of that responsibility. The people of Berwyn voted him in. The people of Berwyn have confidence in him. Let him do his job he was elected to do. Again, it's strange to use Cicero as a template for these fee increases. That's one of the reasons I don't do business in Cicero, and there's another reason I don't do business in Cicero, and that's pay-to-play politics, something you're also talking about. Shame on you for suggesting elected officials here in Berwyn would stoop that low. This isn't Cicero. This is Berwyn, run by a man who has dedicated 20-plus years of his life to public service, a man whose integrity is unparalleled, a man who puts the people first, and to suggest otherwise is just wrong. Good politicians need money to run a campaign, and limiting where it comes from is wrong also. It's all or nothing. You can't pick and choose where your donations are going to come from. Alderman Bowman, at your last meeting, us business owners and operators were there. We asked you to reach out to us. The gaming operators emphatically asked to meet with us to go over your measures. Crickets. You never called us. You never talked to us. Never even wanted you to reach out to come to a solution. Yet you still push forward your backward agenda, and you definitely proved by your actions tonight that you're not pro-business and you're not willing to work with local businesses. Well, today you have a rude awakening, my friend. Don't poke the beast because we will respond back. I believe these measures should be dropped. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Berwyn officials, Berwyn residents, Berwyn business owners. My name is Susie Lyons. I'm one of the business owners of Junior's Bar in the First Ward. Mr. Bowman, you might remember me from when you were campaigning. We were having a debate about gaming machines, and you accused me of earning a living off the backs of Berwyn residents for decades when you had no idea of my background. As stated in that Facebook thread when we were debating, I didn't start out as a Berwyn bar owner. I was a Berwyn resident many years ago, became a Berwyn bartender, then a manager, and then a bar owner 4 years ago. I raised my kids as a bartender, as a single mother of 3, and yet you chose at that opportunity to paint a different picture of me. During the elections, I saw candidates really going aggressively and posting about the negative effects of gaming and how it hurts the community. Gambling is addictive, relationship breakdowns, mental illness, and more. Wouldn't that cover all types of gambling? Aren't lottery tickets and bingo a form of gambling? I think you mentioned that there are 71 businesses in Berwyn that have gaming licenses. There's about 300 businesses that are food and beverage licenses, and I think around 900 business licenses overall in Berwyn. But your main focus keeps circling back to gaming. As I saw in the last meeting, business owners told you that gaming locations are opening up in storefronts that are empty. Empty storefronts do not generate any revenue for the city. I know that there are people that think that Berwyn will give everyone gaming, but I am proof that this is not true. I myself proposed to open up a location in Berwyn about a year ago in a storefront that is closed down. I was denied, and that building storefront is still unoccupied to this day. So number one, no, Berwyn doesn't just hand out gaming licenses like Tic Tacs. And what is the benefit of an empty storefront that has remained unoccupied for over a year now? How does that help Berwyn? Circling back to the negative impacts of gaming that people are concerned about, which keeps bringing us back to being the focus of being singled out for increased licensing fees, which even Off of the many posts that I saw during elections, a couple of you seem to have a serious problem with gaming altogether. So number one, Berwyn is starting to look like Vegas. That's what I hear. The solution? Limit what advertisements and outward-facing decor can be used, such as windows, signs, lawn signs, lighting. Enforce the existing sign ordinances that are already in place. Why do we have so many? Well, again, what other businesses are knocking on Berwyn's doors to fill these empty storefronts? We are all aware that in the state of Illinois, a location is allowed the maximum of 6 gaming machines. That's it. Only 6 customers at one time are able to take part in playing the machines. That sets limits on profitability growth. We also have the most densely populated city outside of Chicago in the entire state of Illinois. So we have more of everything, more gas stations, more laundromats. Just, it is what it is. The negative impacts of gambling that I stated early, I don't argue against any of that. But as in nicotine, marijuana, and liquor, aren't adults allowed to make those decisions to partake in any of that, and the expectation is for them to do it responsibly? I don't think I've ever held a gun to anyone's head and told them that they had to come into my establishment and play the machines. And speaking of alcohol, aren't the concerns for alcohol the same as the ones for gambling? In that case, that's a focus. Let's eliminate alcohol in Berwyn altogether. Let's just make Berwyn a dry town. Get rid of all the bars. Take liquor out of all the restaurants. Close the liquor stores. And on top of that, don't allow lottery sales, bingo, and do away with marijuana shops as well. I'm sure the surrounding towns would love to see that, as it would only drive a revenue increase for them. Now, you might respond by saying we aren't trying to take it away. We just want to increase your licensing in Berwyn, just your businesses. We want to possibly base it off of what you earn in gaming. So punish the locations that are more successful, that are already driving more revenue for Berwyn. What we do this year doesn't mean that we will do that well next year. There was a pandemic 5 years ago. Food and beverage suffered immensely and is still trying to recover fully from that. Can you guarantee that that won't happen again? Hawthorne is working towards opening a casino in the Cicero-Stickney area. Isn't it safe to assume that gaming locations will see a loss as people will go to the casino because they are allowed a lot more than 6 machines? Andy from Connie's restaurant was hit by a car. He had to close down. You cannot predict what we will do from year to year. And remember, if we have an increase of gaming profitability, Berwyn benefits too because they receive a percentage of it. Small businesses have seen a steady increase in the cost of running a business. Property taxes, which out of the 900-ish businesses that pay over half of the property taxes in Berwyn, rents, employee wages, credit card fees alone are getting out of hand because hardly anyone uses cash anymore. Again, payroll increases because the world, not just the bar scene, is changing. We have needed to staff extra security, which is an increase to the cost of running a business because somehow there is an increasing amount of criminals that continue to disrespect the law, disrespect establishment rules, local authorities, and we see it all over social media every day. We see examples of this growing at an alarming rate, not only at bars, but airports, flights, grocery stores, fast food places, restaurants. But bars are consistently being punished and then criticized at the same time for having to create more rules for customers to even enter, which at times makes it a loss for more business. Everybody knows I had a shooting at my bar, but not everybody knows that that person was a convicted murderer. Should have never been left out of jail, but we're held responsible. I have here my second quarter payroll reports and my second quarter gaming. I could tell you one person, and I'm sorry when I typed this, I was incorrect. I said he didn't get paid the second quarter, but he got one paycheck the second quarter, and that's my business partner. Yes, we paid all of our employees. We paid our taxes, our licensing fees, but owners understand that we are paid last, and it's not just us. We all go through it. Yet here you are trying to find a way to make it harder to operate successfully as a small business that does more than their fair share of contributions. Remember, we pay almost 11% in sales tax every single month. For some of us, that can be $3,000 to $8,000 a month or more. But yes, these are the ones that you want to continue to focus on. I can't point them out anymore because the meetings increased, but we all have employees here. Most of our employees are Berwyn residents. So the talk is about the owners not being Berwyn residents, but we employ a lot of Berwyn residents. They have families here. When you try to hurt the businesses in your town, you hurt the employees too, all of them. Berwyn voters also with families here and raising families here. They see it, they're not blind to it. I myself don't work a full-time job plus a part-time job separate from being a bar owner because I hit the jackpot as a bar owner. Which leads me to this. With ICE doing raids and taking Berwyn residents, scaring Berwyn residents into even wanting to go out, which we also see a dip in business because people are fearful, with Berwyn residents losing SNAP benefits and wondering how to feed their families, the federal employees that live in Berwyn that aren't receiving a paycheck right now because of that shutdown, why is this what you keep going back to? Is this a political game to try to sneak one in while people are trying to focus on what's really important, and that's the safety and security of our community and the need to feel like they can leave the house or go to work and not be in fear? Why is this what you want to keep going back to? At the last meeting, I saw Berwyn business owners invite you to sit and talk to them. You have chosen not to do so in the past 2 months. I've met with my alderman, Mr. Caldwell, before. It was a very polite conversation. He could tell you that we're reasonable human beings capable of discussion. Remember, if you want to represent Berwyn, represent all of Berwyn, including your businesses. Find solutions that don't have an us versus them agenda, because that's the divide you are creating. We're not crybabies, we're business owners, representing our establishments, representing our employees, and as I already pointed out, representing Berwyn residents that we provide employment to. And with all that being said, I'll end with what's most important: feeding families and feeding our community. I emailed each and every one of you on November 5th with a flyer detailing a food drive that we are holding at my bar. We are open every single day to accept donations, which has had an amazing response, and open every single day to hand out food. My employees have dedicated their free time to help with getting food bags organized and put together. Please check your spam, as I have only heard back from one of you, and I think the people in your ward should be made aware of any business willing to help out during these difficult times. If you need me to send it to you again, please let me know. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Domingo, 4th Ward. I got a couple of things I'd like to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is I hear that there's a rumor going on that we may get a new chief of police. And my question is there going to be Hispanics in the running for the next chief of police, and not just one that you anointed the deputy chief of police? It's about time Latinos get represented in our police department. Because in our police department, in my opinion, from the middle up, there's racism there. And I would love to have a conversation with you at any time and tell you how I feel and why I feel that way. Mr. Lavero, I've been here 20 years. I've been arguing for the same thing 20 years. They were profiling our people. There was a protest over them profiling our people. And then when you do these fundraisers disguised as seatbelt checks, you know, 23 you collected 2.5 million, and 24 you collected 2 million. I told you before, my view changed. Put that money back into our community so we can fix our community and not raise our taxes, maybe. It goes to a TIS fund, you know. We got to do a better job from the middle up. Our Latinos and black officers are not promoted at the same level as their counterparts. We're 65% Latinos over here, and we expect to start seeing some consideration to that fact. Our spending power is far by anybody. Our spending power, our buying power, our businesses. You allow these things to happen, Mr. Lavero. To me, you tell me you support this racist behavior when you allow this to happen. Put that to the side. On the flock thing, I totally oppose that. There's enough surveillance going on in this country with our Latino community, and you know they have lobbyists and they have all these people that come here and they try to persuade you to continue that program. It's not benefiting the Latino, the 65% Latinos that were here. Bob, I seen the video before I got here. You said, well, we're being tracked here on our phones. You could, yeah, okay, but so a little more traction, surveillance on us? We don't need no more surveillance on our people. We deserve our privacy. If we did something wrong, go to court, get a warrant, and trace the phone, do what you gotta do, but there's due process. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be in our community. Ted, you said, oh, we gotta protect our community. We got police department that are top 10 in the nation, if not the state, on what they get paid. I got confidence in police department that do their job. There's racism there that needs to be fixed from the middle up. You know what I mean? But I got confidence in you will do your job and protect our community. You know what I mean? But I'm very disappointed in you being a long-time resident on how you treat our Latino community. You know what I mean? Leja,
13 votes got you elected. I'm very disappointed in you, Bob, because you graduated with Leha from a rubber stamp to a bootlicker. Sir, I told you in person, I'm gonna watch how you vote. We're watching how you vote. There's gonna be probably 3 people here wanting to run for mayor. We're all watching you, and we're gonna start making changes on the next election. Trust me, the people will come out and vote.
Hi, I'm Randy Wagner, and I'm from the 7th Ward, and I'm here to talk about video gaming. And I'm here to ask the City Council to vote no on the video gaming ordinance. The reason I'm asking this is I don't know who wrote this ordinance in 2016, but it was copied from the Illinois Gaming Board Administration Code. And the majority of the so-called Berwyn ordinance isn't even enforceable. City Code 879 DO1 definitions, Illinois Gaming Code 1-800-100. 879 DO3 inspections, 1-800.120, Illinois Gaming Code. 879B05 general duties of video gaming licenses, Illinois Gaming Code 1-800-210. So I guess you would get the idea that if you took one of these ordinances and went to the gaming board site, you would find it just about word for word. Now, one of my favorites is Berwyn City Ordinance 879.07, minimum standards for user agreements, which is actually the gaming board's 1-800-320. Now, do I have to file an 879.07 with the city? No. Do I have to file a 320 with the gaming board? Absolutely. Do you even know what is entailed in that requirement? You don't need to, because you have no authority to make these decisions. Only the gaming board can. What do you need to apply to the Illinois Gaming Board for license? You need the city to allow gaming inside city limits, which you do. You need a valid city Berwyn liquor license, you need a valid state of Illinois license, and you need a user agreement with the gaming vendor. With these 3 pieces of paper, I can now apply to the Illinois Gaming Board for a gaming license. After going through all of their requirements, only then can they either approve or deny my application. Once I'm approved, the Illinois Gaming Board and the vendor come into my establishment and decide where the games are going to be placed. Berwyn Ordinance 879.17, location placement of video gaming terminals, Gaming Board Code 1-800-8.10. The city has no authorization where my games are placed, only the vendor and the gaming board. Now, you want 70 businesses who have a state video gaming license to turn over our financials. Well, now, if the President of the United States doesn't have to turn over his financials, what makes you think that you can legally enforce us or anyone to turn our finances over to you? The reason you wanted our finances was so you could reclassify our business license. If video income supersedes liquor or food sales, you would then classify the business as a cafe instead of a restaurant or a bar. Right now, you have a limit of 15 cafe business licenses. You claim you're not trying to eliminate video gaming, just like during your campaigns when you were totally outraged about the former administration voting to increase your salary to $37,000, making your voters believe that you were going to refuse this. Did you? No. So what makes you believe that any of us would believe anything that you say? Yet you actually believe that you would be able to eliminate video gaming from businesses because you have reached the cap on specific city business licenses. Wrong. The Illinois Gaming Board does not care how a city classifies its business license. From what I've read and how you've worded some of this, all you want to do is take certain authority away from the city liquor commissioner and transfer control to the city council on a city gambling license that does not exist. There's no such thing as a city gaming license. None of us here have a city gaming license. We have a business license, we have a liquor license, which means you can't control something that you cannot issue to begin with. Only the Illinois Gaming Board can issue a gaming license, not the city, not the county. Even Cook County knows it can't issue county gaming license. What they can do is issue a machine tax sale, which they have. just like the city of Berwyn can issue an amusement tax on all its operated games in the city, which it has. It's not a gaming license, it's a gaming tax. And that's about the only thing this ordinance can do. And this is why I'm asking the city council to vote no on the ordinance. Thank you.
Hi, Stephanie Nance. I've spoken before. I'm in the 7th Ward. First, I'd like to speak to the mayor about his response at the last city council meeting to Alderman Bowman's address. I know it's hard to hear that any action we've taken or been a party to has caused someone harm. Whether it was your intent or not, or whether you feel incorrectly represented, or whether you're feeling called out in public, you still should be hearing what people are saying to you and responding with compassion. Please acknowledge what you hear and acknowledge the actions being requested of you. It's okay to offer to speak about them later if you need time to process. And it's also very valid to ask for mediation if you don't feel that you can have an unbiased, conversation outside of that. But it is not okay to hear someone saying there was harm done and turn around and point fingers at them and blame them. It's inappropriate and it causes more harm. I know this isn't a typical workplace, but maybe some workplace sensitivity training could be helpful here, and I really look forward to hearing about how you respond to this in the future. The other thing I really want to address is the block camera situation. That's not surprising. The information has been provided. The facts are there. The facts are there. So I'm not going to talk about the facts. I'm going to talk about some of the reasons that the alderman said no, and kind of talk about why I don't think they're valid reasons. One of the reasons I heard was that we weren't being offered anything as an alternative to flock. And so how can we say, get rid of flock if there's no alternative? All right, here's a little situation. Say you have family members that are being stalked right now. Someone that you care about, your wife maybe. And you've got your friend John, and you and John are real close, and you tell John everything. John sometimes helps you out with lots of things, maybe takes your wife to the airport when she travels. You tell John about where your wife is headed on travel or whatever, and you find out that, and you're like, oh wait, but just be careful. Don't say anything to anyone, please. My wife could be hurt, my wife could be harmed, my wife could be killed if you say something to somebody about it. And you find out that John does. John goes and tells Bob, and Bob shares a computer with Tom, and now your stalker knows where your wife is, and her life is in danger. Would you be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to keep telling John everything I've ever told him. I'm going to think John should take my wife to the airport now. Or would you be like, maybe I'll keep this secret. Maybe I don't need to tell people. Would you be like, oh, I don't have very many friends. I should keep talking to John about it. No, because this is your wife. This is your loved one. This is someone you care about. You're not going to do that. You're going to keep that secret. You're going to keep that information to yourself. And that's what we're asking here. That's what this is. This is our family. This is our community. These are our loved ones. One of the other reasons we heard is I want to support my police. I support the police. That's something else I heard. Well, yes, but our police are supposed to support us. In this moment, we need them to protect and serve in the best way possible. And sometimes that means keeping our secrets. Sometimes that means not making sure as much as possible that the people who are our stalkers, who are kidnapping our neighbors and terrorizing our communities, don't have access to weapons to use against us. So please, protect and serve your community right now, in this moment, the best way you can, and please, get rid of flock cameras.
Tina Robertson, 3rd Ward. Same note on flock camera. I can't really add much beyond that aside from, I don't know if y'all have talked to someone who's just encountered ICE. I don't know if you've seen ICE grabbing someone and detaining someone, because it's horrifying for everyone involved. And like she said, even if when we receive these grants, it wasn't in a situation where Flock was going to be providing data, but they have since then. You currently have a faulty product on the market.
Hello, Tim Swanson, 3rd Ward. I was a little surprised to see that Flock cameras were back on the agenda. Pleasantly surprised. I know last time a motion did not pass. It didn't seem like there was enough talking behind the scenes to prep for this vote last time. So I'm hopeful that that kind of discussions happen behind the scenes this time, and we can kind of get this Flock issue resolved. However, if that didn't happen, I would still encourage everyone to kind of really give it some thought based on the feedback we've received so far tonight, the last council meeting before that. I don't think I've heard anyone except one person, I think the deputy police perhaps, speaking in favor of Flock from this side of the divide. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to vote to end the contract with Flock. And I would also share that there was recently a 404 media article which documented a court ruling in Washington that relates to Flock camera. They found that all of Flock camera video is part of the public record. So this information is something that anyone can FOIA and reach out to and try to obtain. Obviously, that presents a lot of, concerns. If we are trying to keep this data safe and secure, and it's Berwyn data, like we say it is, that means people can just kind of reach out and try to get a hold of it, find out where people are going at any given time if they want to. So I think it's in everyone's best interest and the Flock camera contract. And similar to the concerns about, and the analogies used before about sticking with something until we find a replacement, I'll say once again, as I said last council meeting, if you find out your milk is spoiled, you don't keep drinking it, you just stop drinking the spoiled milk. So that's all I have to say about that. I do also have to say kudos to all the alder people and mayor who stand up to vice profiteering. I think that's very brave, and I think the citizens respect that and appreciate that. And we look forward to our city looking a little less cheap. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Nomar Bello, and I'm a member of Morton West High School's CLA Club. Our club recently partnered with the City of Berwyn to share Know Your Rights flyers with students. Thanks to the city's support in bilingual flyers, we ensured that every student could access this information. The flyers explain the city's welcoming ordinance, residents' rights during a nice encounter, and how families can create a safety plan. To reach as many students as possible, our club organized a student-led outreach. We set up a table in all the cafeterias during all the lunch periods, where we approximately reached 300 to 400 students, informing them about their rights. On behalf of the students, we sincerely thank the City of Berwyn for its partnership and resources, and we also thank Morton West for allowing us to set up and share this information. Thank you.
Luz Chavez, 16th and Ridgeland. A couple things. One, I just wanted to thank Alderman Bowman for calling out the hypocrisy and the way that you run City Hall, Mayor. You had a very immature, childish response to his very eloquent and very very comprehensive speech last time. And it's not a secret the way that you run City Hall. The way you run it is you make sure it only works for political loyalists and businesses and residents that donate to you. A lot of them happen to be, right? What a coincidence, gambling places. I also want to thank you, Alderman Bowman, for stepping up and finally addressing an issue that residents have been complaining about for years and years and years and years, which is this city being overrun by gambling machines. Since you took office 14 years ago, that number has only exponentially increased. The community has been extremely, has found it extremely problematic, the number of gaming slot machines that we have. So thanks for finally bringing that to the table. Again, that's no secret. It's just somebody finally took it on and is doing the work. I also want to thank the over 700 residents in Berwyn and Cicero that have become part of the community response to the ICE attacks on our neighborhoods. 700 community members that do everything from mutual aid to ICE Watch, putting their bodies on the line to protect the most vulnerable folks in our communities. So I really want to shout them out. They're doing an enormous amount of work. I hope that you all can take their lead. And also, I want to encourage folks on November 17th to vote online in the township's participatory budgeting. So if you go to tinyurl.com/BerwynPB, tinyurl.com/BerwynPB, you can have different projects to vote on. I'm encouraging folks to please vote for the Healthy Foods Initiative, which would give over $20,000 in grants to food pantries for both food and healthy cooking classes. You know, food aid, or, you know, food insecurity is a huge issue in Berwyn. It's unfortunately one during your 14 years you haven't done much of to address. Just this past July in 2024, a lot of the aldermen here actually ended up supporting that $1.5 million be used in conjunction with the Berwyn Township for AstroTurf. I imagine if you all would actually be a little bit more in touch with the needs of the community, that $1.5 million would have gone towards food security for our neighbors. Now we have a project that's only going to get, hopefully if enough of you all vote for it, $23,000. So please get out and vote, tinyurl.com/BerwynPB for the Healthy Foods Initiative. Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Brito. I am a mother, a proud daughter of immigrants, and I am livid that I have to stand here tonight to make a statement on violence caused by the contract with Flock and your allowance to continue to use this system. It is no secret, and all of you have been made aware of not only the violation of privacy and surveillance of our community members through these cameras, but also of sharing of personal data with ICE and CPB so that they can perpetuate even more harm to our residents. These agencies are causing an extreme amount of violence, pain, and terror in our neighborhood. How lazy of you to simply say things like, I trust the police. What a complete cop-out, no pun intended, to do your job to protect the privacy and dignity of the residents of Berwyn that you purport to represent and protect. Why are we having to show up here again and again to try and convince you of the obvious violations to our municipal ordinance and to our state ordinance? Is this a game to you? It's not a game to us. I know all of you have seen the videos of cases of children being ripped from their mother's arms. Chemical weapons are being used against us, and you sit here and make excuses because you do not want to fulfill your responsibility as elected officials and terminate this violence. I expect all of you to vote to suspend the use of Flock and cancel the contract immediately. And to my people, please pay close attention to the way your elected officials govern and tell your neighbors about it. We gave them this power, and we can take it away. Do your job and cancel the contract now. We know that Larry Dominic is getting money from Flock for his campaign, and we will find out if you are also getting money from Flock for your campaign. And about the gaming, I didn't have anything written for that, but I will say that, yeah, it sucks. Let's get rid of it. I love Berwyn. I think there's a lot of really amazing things about Berwyn. That is literally the dark cloud in our community. And not only because it's predatory, we're literally luring people who are vulnerable into these systems to get them addicted, to waste their money. and that's what we want to be the symbolic representation of Berwyn, get rid of that too.
James Kane, 5th Ward, and I just want to add my voice to those against the flock contract. I just am alarmed at the amount of private information that is being controlled by the government and private businesses now, and I think we should stand against that kind of surveillance of people that just creates us information which maybe with good intentions can easily be misused.
Alex Gill, 1st Ward. Hey, Micah, how you doing? I love my Latino neighbors. They're pretty nice. They add to my community. I've been giving them my habanero peppers that I've been growing in my yard. I have 5 that I'm very close to that I talk with frequently. Flock will hurt their community. It'll hurt their safety. It'll hurt their want to leave their very own house. There's precedent for removing flock cameras. Oak Park has done it. Forest Park has done it. River Forest has done it. Why not add your name to the list? It seems pretty evident that our fellow communities feel this way, then maybe we should follow suit. Maybe some of you think that it's benefits our community, it makes us safer to have these flock cameras. Currently there are no case studies that show that flock cameras actually increase the safety of our neighborhood. Lastly, it is in violation of multiple different ordinances and laws, first of which being Berwyn's Welcoming Neighbor Ordinance, your very own ordinance. Now, say you don't care about that. Say you don't care about your ordinance, you're the government, you can change the law. It is also in violation of the Trust Act of Illinois, the act that makes Chicago a sanctuary city. And last, and certainly not least, it is in violation of the 4th Amendment covered under Carpenter versus U.S., which follows the tracking of cell phones, but also that can be argued as the tracking of people perpetually in public spaces. I urge you to consider the budget for flock cameras and discontinue their use like your neighbors have. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Andy Soteropoulos, 1st Ward. Nice to see you again, Mayor, council members. I'm here in regards to the proposed gaming amendments from the Committee of the Whole. Just under 2 months ago, we were shocked by this proposal at committee when it came out with no input from the business community. As previously stated, 900 businesses in the city of Berwyn, 300 F&B, 66 licensed gaming locations, which wasn't even correctly stated earlier. $1.2 million in revenue generated between licensing and the city's 5% off the top commission. No idea where that's going to come from, because you're still trying to struggle and figure out how you're going to replace the red light camera. 1.5 million that hasn't been for about 1.5 years now. Then we have a structured fee. Make more, pay more. It's going to generate $250,000. Doesn't make up the camera. I added up $35,000 pay raise, $35,000 pay raise, $35,000 pay raise, $35,000 pay raise, 35, 35, 35, 35. So we have 70, 140, and another 140. That's $280,000, especially from the people that campaigned on transparency and not accepting the money. We're trying to generate $250,000 when I have $280,000 sitting in front of me, and we're getting nothing for it. So previously I was the BDC president 6-7 years, did the whole committee of the whole thing, city council, haven't been here probably 4 or 5 years, and to your patience, Mayor, I mean, this is just a travesty. I mean, when we have freshmen alders not even understanding transfer of licenses and getting laughed at their own meeting, it's pathetic. We went into a committee meeting that 66 out of 900 businesses weren't asked for information. Just to look at a PowerPoint, that half of it isn't even legal. Then our statements were taken into consideration. Wasn't. Same PowerPoint, no businesses were considered afterwards, and as Susie has mentioned and everybody's mentioned, we're not difficult people to get along with. We could have a conversation, but we need to get approached. Now, 1 month out, we have to drag our butts 2 weeks before Christmas, away from our businesses, away from our families, because what was presented today was, at best, garbage. Didn't pass legal muster. Trying to take state authority from a state law, which can't be done. Citizens United, which I don't even agree with, but that's the Supreme Court thing that you're trying to bring down with the donation stuff. And then political due influences. Yeah, I sponsor a foursome. Yeah, big deal. Bobby, does that get me a good thing for a foursome? I guarantee you I've donated more to District 98 and District 100 and Morton West than that $500. And I didn't do it for anything. It was the right thing to do. We sponsor your kids' events. We sponsor the non-for-profits. And when I told you in that meeting, I wasn't playing. You have never signed the front of a check. And now you expect us to open up our books for you? No problem. Open up your checkbook. Give me $500,000. I'll make you a percentage partner in my business, and I'll give you any document that you want. You're a part of city council. You have sales tax information. The gaming data, public information, simple math you could do right there and get all the information you're asking. I don't have to submit to the IRS till October, but you want it by May? Talk to us. Come to an understanding. This is the second time we've come to you. You haven't come to us once. Have a good night.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Giancarlo Aranella. I work with the Communications Department in the City of Berwyn, and I'm also a resident of the 7th Ward. Over the past few weeks, I've been working on an effort to raise awareness about immigrant rights through the Know Your Rights campaign. I've been placing informational signs in key areas around our city, like busy intersections and high traffic locations, so that residents can easily access resources that explain their basic rights, regardless of immigration status. Our goal is to make sure that every member of our community feels informed, safe, and empowered. In a city as diverse as ours, it's important that everyone understands their legal rights and where they can get help. These efforts will be continued as long as necessary. Thank you. Have a good night.
Alderman, anything for open forum?
Yeah, I got something real quick. Hello. So earlier today I was listening to the daily podcast of the New York Times. They were interviewing Greg Bavino, who is the head of the Operation Midway Blitz that is currently ongoing in the Berwyn-Cicero area. And this is a direct quote from him in the interview. So they asked him how he picks his targets, and he replied, "I'm not going to go too much into tactics, but even before we go to a city, we gather intelligence from many different means. Let's just say that, so we already know where the bad people are, bad things in certain locations. We're going there. We gather our intelligences." We know directly that Flock shared data with this department that he is overseeing this operation for. Just something to consider while we're voting on that as well.
I have just one item, just so you're all aware. Deputy Chief Fellows, sharing portion of, so from our, not be sharing with He's determined that he's going to do that. He was going to send out a press release on it tomorrow, but I'm advising you all tonight that he's turning it off. Hopefully this can be discussed because the ramifications of just canceling this contract, we've already seen actions against Evanston. Make sure that so no information will be shared at all, period.
We're not turning off the cameras, though.
Depending on the vote.
Can you use some of your salary to invest in Mike?
Mayor, if I may, I just want to make for the record, the clerk's office received several communications from residents expressing concerns regarding the city's contract with Flock. Additional feedback was also received regarding potential changes being discussed to the city's video gaming license regulations. These communications have been shared with the mayor and the city council for review and consideration. I'd also like to know that there is Know Your Rights information workshops and information along here on the table with information for some Whistlemanias that are happening. And I'd also like to share what was also stated by Luz, that the Berwyn Public Township is holding their participatory budgeting. And it encourages Berwyn residents to use all avenues and different aspects to help our residents and community during challenging times. And it is on the table as well. And I'd also like to note that the executive order to Governor J.B. Pritzker, I personally delivered it to Springfield to him yesterday.
Okay, item C1, please. That was the executive order that we passed about.
Item C1 is the Committee of the Whole and regular City Council meeting minutes of October 28, 2025.
Be my motion to approve the Committee of the Whole and the regular City Council minutes of October 28 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Fate, second by Leisure to accept the City Council minutes and the Committee of the Whole minutes as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item E1, please.
Item E1 is the Berwyn Health District Township from me, Clerk Garcia, who's hosting the first Whistle Kit workshop through the township and the city, and the information and flyer is attached. It will be on November 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the local flower stand, and more dates are coming.
Motion to consider as informational.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Pabon to consider informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item E2, please.
Item E2 is also a communication from me, from the Berwyn Township Clerk, letting people know that we are going to be hosting the 2026 Mental Health Awareness Workshops that will include information for our communities that the trauma is causing to our communities, and this is for informational.
I move to accept the 2026 Mental Health Awareness Workshops communication as informational.
Second.
Motion by Caldwell, second by Palachuk to consider the communication informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a proclamation from Community Emergency Response Team, the CERT Recognition Week. Whereas the Community Emergency...
Actually, if we could have Scott Wozak come up, he could explain it probably easier.
Thank you. Good evening. I will try and keep this short and sweet for you. So Community Emergency Response Team is something that, when I took over as the emergency manager for the city, was brought to me at the behest of the mayor and my former chief, retired chief Tom Hayes, as something that was important for everybody in the community. What it is it teaches residents some very basic skills on how to assist themselves, their families, and their neighbors in the community after a disaster, whether it's flooding, as some people here have experienced, or a tornado that we experienced last year. And what it does is it allows a relief on the emergency services that go out and deal with the larger scale situations while still being able to offer aid to people in the community. And while we are going to read, or you guys are going to read a proclamation explaining a little bit briefer what CERT does as a whole, the people that are going to be listed in there dedicated 8 weeks of their lives It was 3 hours every Tuesday night, starting in August, going through October. There were hands-on things. It covers fire extinguishers, first aid, how to use a tourniquet, how to do some search and rescue. That could not have been accomplished without not only their dedication to the community, but also the dedication of a lot of city services and a lot of community businesses. The police department offered up their facility every single Tuesday night for us and allowed us to go in there. The North Berwyn Park District let us use the facility on 15th and Harlem. Morton West let us use their facility for an entire Saturday for some rather intense training. And then the Morton Theater Group also surprised us and let us use some of their theater students. They came out and they were actors. Pillars gave us students for actors. Fox Valley Fire donated 35 fire extinguishers to provide some hands-on training where we were writing a lot of things on fire in front of the firehouse. Waldo Police provided pizza for us. And last but not least, by far, Cook County Emergency Management and the Illinois CERT Association provided both of the instructors and the program completely free of charge. Cook County is also providing us with training, tourniquets and EDs and drag dummies so that we can continue this on. So while this is the inaugural CERT class, and I am proud of all of you, it is not the last one. So with that,
I'd ask the clerk to read the now therefore and recognize the CERT graduates.
Just the graduates? Oh, no, got it. Now therefore, Robert J. Lovero, Mayor of the City of Berwyn, together with the City Council and Clerk Garcia, do hereby recognize the participants of the Berwyn Community Emergency Response Team CERT program for their dedication to the safety and preparedness of our community and encourage all residents to join in celebrating these volunteers for their outstanding contributions to public safety and community resilience.
Would you please recognize the, if you can all stand, and we will get you a copy of this. Wazek will get you a copy. So can you read those, please?
Sure.
And stand up when your name is called, please.
Recognize some of the graduates. Mary Beth Aranela. Giancarlo Aranella. Lilia Arroyo Flores. Xavier Barajas. Norman Bello. Elizabeth Capua. Hope Donmario. Ana Espinosa. Adrian Cabrales. George Mika. Graciela Mika. Richard Mondragon. Yasmin Morales. Cynthia Munoz. Lydia Felix. Claudia Flores. Rick Flores. Milena Franco. Victor Garcia. Luis Gomez Ovando. Sabine Cross. Sandra Navarez. Lisa Olson. Natalia Perez. Inga Sandoval. Martin Segura. And Amy Sardelli.
Congratulations, thank you for participating. Scott's gonna keep on doing it. I think a couple of you are gonna be teachers, so thank you for stepping forward. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion on the communication?
No. I make a motion that we accept this communication from the emergency response team as informational.
Second. Motion by Leja, seconded by Palachek to fix the necessary signatures and accept it as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G1, please.
Item G1 is a handicap parking sign determination of 2543 Kenilworth Avenue is to deny.
I move that we reject the denial of handicap parking 2543 Kenilworth Avenue and approve it.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Fate to reject the denial of the handicap parking at 2543 Kenilworth and approve it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G2, please.
Item G2 is a handicap parking sign determination of 2244 Gunderson Avenue, and it's to approve.
Be my motion to concur with the clerk's office and the city's recommendation and determination to approve the handicap parking sign at 2244 Gunderson.
Second.
Motion by Pabon, seconded by Palachik to approve, concur with the clerk's office and approve the handicap space at 2244 Gunderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
Item I1 is Fire and Police Commission promotion to the rank of Sergeant Daniel Piemonte for informational.
I move that we accept this communication from Fire and Police Commission announcing the promotion of the rank of Sergeant Daniel Piemonte as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Palachik to consider the communication from the Board of Fire and Police Commission with the promotion of Daniel Piemonte as sergeant as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I2, please.
Item I2 is a communication from Fire and Police Commission for the promotion to the rank of Sergeant Ross Faya, and also for informational.
I move that we concur with this communication from Fire and Police Commission announcing the promotion to the rank of Sergeant of Ross Fire as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Palachik to consider the communication from the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for the promotion of Ross Fayala as a sergeant as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I3, please.
I move that we refer this item to the Fire and Police Aldermanic Committee for investigation and evaluation.
Second.
Okay, could we let the clerk read what the
I3 is a communication from Alderman Pabon, a resolution directing city staff to immediately deactivate and suspend use of Flock license plate reader cameras and to terminate the existing contract with Flock Group, Inc.
It'd be my motion to.
Well, we have a motion and we have a second on the floor already. Alderman Leja, you have your motion?
Yes.
Seconded by Palachik to refer to Police and Fire Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay,
I
can
need
we
a
do it on a
count,
roll
I
call,
can't
please?
hear, yeah. Caldwell,
Nay.
Bowman,
No.
Leja,
Aye.
Fates,
Aye.
Pabon,
Nay.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Nay.
I mean, we knew this was going to happen, Mayor. So,
With the turning off of the sharing that Deputy Chief Fellows has already done, I'll let it go to Police and Fire Commission so we could examine our options with respect to cancellation and/or an RFP for a new contract.
Mayor.
Why didn't we do this a month ago? This was already here.
By all rights, the motion shouldn't be here again because it's already been voted for and somebody from the majority didn't bring it back as a motion to reconsider. But I'm letting it go.
Did you get any money from this company?
Check my records. Item J1, please.
Mayor, may I at least make a statement on this?
Yes, you
Since
can.
I brought this forward. You know, I'm just confused. We live in a community right now that is being terrorized by ICE. We all are neighbors. We don't live in a city where we live miles and miles away from each other. We're seeing this happen to children, to grandparents, to seniors, to people that live on your block. Flock has already admitted to sharing the data. There's nothing to deliberate at this committee meeting. Our own contract allows Flock to share data when matters are considered to be urgent. What does that even mean under this administration? What Flock has already done is incurable. There's nothing they can do to fix the problem. They shared the data exists, it's already out there. At the last meeting, Mayor, you shared that the Secretary of State was the only person you heard who was concerned about this. Well, the Secretary of State and their legal team has audited 46 law enforcement agencies, and there was only one with no findings. They have been working with Flock to improve the database, asking them to take away different search options so that they cannot target people right now with what's happening with the Department of Homeland Security, with Customs, with ICE. However, there continues to be issues because new search ideas and creative ways of getting this information are still existing, and they're still coming up in the audits that the Secretary of State is doing. The audits themselves are thousands of lines. Who at BPD is going to sit there and look through this to make sure that we're not being searched? I know that we're pausing, but just even the accountability around this type of data, right? When we passed this several years ago, there was not even any federal regulations on this type of data. Right now, there is only 1 or 2 state laws on license plate readers in the nation, and Illinois is one of the states that has laws on it, passed in 2023. This is a new frontier. Even if you don't, if you want the police to have this tool, you don't want it, whatever you look at this situation, the data is not being protected. The people are not being protected. I walk my kid home from school, and ICE and CPB were driving down Ridgeland. Families hid in the parking lot. Families hid in the playground, behind playground equipment. We had to pull kids into the school for them to be safe. We're in a situation right now. I went to a food pantry. A business in my ward converted their business into a food pantry. This business is delivering food because people are too afraid to leave their homes. One of the stories they told me out of the many that they shared about what people are dealing with is about this couple, the senior couple who's in their 80s, who won't even turn their lights on all day. They don't use lights anymore. That's the type of trauma people are dealing with. And we're worried about some technology for the police department. We talked about hypotheticals. Oh, we're not here to protect the community if we get rid of this. That's not a hypothetical. That's happening right now. People's cousins, their mothers, their brothers are being disappeared every day in Berwyn. This is happening today. This is not a hypothetical of that the commander couldn't even answer the question if these license plate readers have ever solved a case of a kidnapping. This is not a game. This is not a political game. This is not, let's talk about this for 3 more weeks or 2 more months and then finally pat ourselves on the back when legal gives us the green light. This is an urgent matter that should be taken with care and love, like the residents have shared today, for our neighbors. We should be able to stand right now in our morals, in our ethics. A company broke the rules, a company broke the law, and we're saying we'll still use them. Why?
So you are conflating 2 different issues. Flock and ICE are not the same thing. You're talking about ICE, and that's fine. But that
Mayor,
is not
Mayor,
flock.
I'm not sure you gave him the floor. You gave me the floor. I don't think you gave Rich the floor.
This is not open for argument. The motion was passed. It's going to police and fire. The sharing is being turned off. The sharing is being turned off, and what we need to examine is our legality with respect to this contract.
And I sincerely appreciate some steps, but I feel like we're done with half measures.
I
And
got
right
what
now,
you-
what
I
I
got what you're saying.
Right. And
I
right
got
now,
what
what I
you're
just
saying.
want to offer up is that if we're going to do that, I expect at that committee meeting that there be an audit presented to the committee members of the flock data that has already been searched on Berwyn so that we can look into it. Because if we've been searched by a police department in southern Illinois trying to get somebody caught up, or a search has come through from somewhere in Texas, or information has been shared about abortions, or about people's movement, undocumented families' movement, we're shutting this down.
That is what this investigation is for, Alderman.
I'm not asking you to respond, Rich, okay?
He's going to give us, he's also going to give us the information where it did help us, especially solve a murder here in town too. So he'll bring that all to the committee so you guys can hear it all, okay? Item J1, please.
Item J1 is a communication from Finance Director Martin and City Comtage, determination for the estimated 2025 property tax levy to be collected in 2026.
Be my motion to concur with Finance Director Martin and Controller Daish. Decided in the committee of the whole to go with option B.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Leisure, to concur with the recommendation of Committee of the Whole with option B. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
No.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fay,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye. Aye.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael. 7 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J2.
Item J2 is a communication from Senior Engineer Campbell, approval of bid award for the 2025 Green Alley Program at the bid amount of $2,267,495,000 to J. Narduli Concrete.
Mr. Mayor, it's my motion to approve Senior Engineer Campbell's approval for a bid awarding the 2025 Green Alley Program at the bid amount of $2,267,495 to J. Narduli Concrete Incorporated.
Second.
Motion by Palachek, seconded by Fate, to concur with Engineer Campbell and award the 2025 Green Alley Program to J. Narduli Concrete for the amount of $2,267,495. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fate,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J3, please.
Item J3 is a communication from Senior Engineer Campbell, approval of pay estimate number 1, Lombard Avenue, resurfacing from Pershing Road to 31st Street project in the amount of $168,767.55 to Lindell Brothers, Inc., and this payment should be processed from the MFT funds, and this payment should include a 10% retainage.
I move to concur with Engineer Campbell's recommendation for the approval of pay estimate number 1, Lombard Avenue resurfacing from Pershing Road to 31st Street project in the amount of $168,767.55 to Lindell Brothers, Inc. This payment should be processed from MFT funds. This payment includes a 10% retainage.
Second.
Motion by Bowman, seconded by Fate, to concur with Engineer Campbell and approve pay estimate number 1 for the Lombard Avenue resurfacing from Pershing to 31st Street in the amount of $168,767.55 to Lindell Brothers, Inc. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fay,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J4, please.
Item J4 is a communication from Senior Engineer Campbell, approval of pay estimate number 5 for the 2025 MFT Street Resurfacing Program to Lindell Brothers, Inc. in the amount of $144,021.95. This payment includes a 3% retainage.
Motion.
I move to approve pay estimate number 5 for the 2025 MFT Street Resurfacing Program to Lindahl Brothers, Inc. in the amount of $144,021.95.
Second.
Motion by Caldwell, second by Bowman, to concur with Engineer Campbell and approve the pay estimate number 5 for the 2025 MFT Street Resurfacing for Lindahl Brothers in the amount of $144,021.95. All those in favor, the call of the roll.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fate,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye.
Palashek,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J5, please.
Item 5 is a communication from Senior Engineer Campbell, approval of pay estimate number 7 for Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project in the amount of $559,563.34 to Trine Construction. This payment should be processed from the ARPA funds. This payment includes a 10% retainage.
I move to approve pay estimate number 7 for the Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project in the amount of $559,563.34 to Trine Construction to be paid from ARPA funds.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Caldwell, seconded by Bowman, to concur with Senior Engineer Campbell and approve pay estimate number 7 for the Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project, the amount of $559,563.34 to Trine Construction. All those in favor, and call the roll.
Caldwell.
Aye.
Bowman.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Faith.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Palashek.
Aye.
Bruckman.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J6, please.
Items J6, communication from Senior Engineer Campbell, approval of pay estimate number 8 for the Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project in the amount of $835,289.69 to Trine Construction. This payment should be processed from the ARPA funds, and this payment includes a 10% retainage.
I move to approve pay estimate number 8 for the Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project in the amount of $835,289.69 to Trine Construction to be paid from ARPA funds.
Second.
Motion by Caldwell, second by Palachik, to concur with Engineer Campbell and approve pay estimate number 8 for the Ogden Avenue Water Main and Sewer Project in the amount of $835,289.69 to Trine Construction. All those in favor, and call the roll.
Caldwell.
Aye.
Bowman.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Faith.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Palashek.
Aye.
Bruckman.
Aye.
Carmichael. 8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. J7, please.
J7 is a communication from Public Works Director Martian, a recommendation to approve the purchase of a 2025 Ventric tractor KN 4520Y Kubota D902 in the amount of $52,414.
Mr. Mayor, it's my motion to approve Public Works Director Marchand's recommendation to purchase the 2025 Ventrac tractor KN 4520Y Kubota D902 in the amount of $52,414.
Second.
Motion by Palachik, seconded by Caldwell, to concur with Director Marchand and approve the purchase of the 2025 Ventrac tractor for $52,414 from Burst Equipment. All those in favor, and call the roll.
Caldwell.
Aye.
Bowman.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Faith.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Palashek.
Aye.
Bruckman.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. The consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Faith, seconded by Palachik, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Alderman at committee meetings. Alderman Caldwell.
Call the chair.
Alderman Bowman.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leisure.
Call of the chair.
Alderman Faith.
Call the chair.
Alderman Pabon.
I have a ward meeting coming up on November 18th. It's a Tuesday. It's going to start at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be virtual to be mindful of folks being afraid to go out right now.
Location?
Virtual. It's going to be online.
Oh, virtual.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Palachik. Alderman Bruckman.
I'm having a ward meeting on the 18th as well, 6 p.m. at the Joe Velez Center.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion adjourned by Carmichael, seconded by Palachik. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Roberta, why don't we put that in a referendum? 5 people here decide on keeping that spot going on, they're questioning a lot about the union. Put it on a referendum. If you're not